The Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 59, Porter's Sacrifice. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, the end is nigh for the confrontation between Young and Holt and Samuel Reddington. Porter has just made a desperate attempt to stop Reddington's machine, which is designed to raise from the dead a tribe of ancient giants. But it didn't go so well. But who it didn't go well for remains to be seen. I don't want to spoil anything for you good folks, but this may not end exactly how you thought it might. Oh, and a final note. You may want to stick around at the end of the credits for a few extra words. Well, we left Porter in a precarious position, so it's time to find out where he's at.
Brad or Porter, go ahead and roll me a d6. This does not explode.
And technically, we're all around the machine at this point.
You have gotten close enough to the machine at this point. Yeah, I really hope you roll a 1.
No,
2.
A 2.
All right, that's still enough. So that's considered a major malfunction. All right, so here's what happens, and so then I am going to play the life changer card with this as well. So Joshua, you and the rest of the gun hands, you come running up. Porter, you're messing with the things, and you pull a lever and press a button right after that as part of your sequence that you're trying to do, and you realize the moment that you press a button that was the wrong thing to do. Everything starts swirling once again, but this time it's swirling in the opposite direction, but it speeds up as it begins to go around and around and around. It's going very fast. You're kind of almost mesmerized by it to the point where you're just staring deep into these swirling blacks and deep blues and whites, and your hand stays on that lever. You don't even realize that you're still hanging on to it. Swirls up, and then suddenly it stops, and just as you arrive, Joshua and crew, there is just like shoots out this wave of black and blue from all of the slots where there's not metal, and you see Porter just completely enveloped in this. Joshua, you see, as this is washing over Porter, or where Porter was, what looks to be like this demonic face of sorts, almost like it washed away in the waves of this as it comes out of this device. And it has an angry and panicked and rage-filled look on its face as it swirls in the smoke and then is quickly gone. At the same time, there is some sparks on the top of each one of the little nozzles there, and you think you might see some sparks in the distance where Reddington is running. And as the wave fades away, you see that Porter is still seated or kneeling there in front of the device. His hand is still on the lever. Nothing on him appears damaged whatsoever, but he's just kind of standing there, and he's just slightly out of it, almost as if he is unconscious, but his eyes are just kind of staring straight ahead and blinking.
Joshua steps up, slowly pulls each finger off of the lever that he's still holding on to, and just kind of, it's okay, don't know what just happened, but you did something, and I'll just kind of hold Porter so that he doesn't like fall backwards, hurting himself more, and turn and look towards the mound that Reddington ran to.
Was there any damage with that, actually, Chris?
You actually suffered no damage.
Let me make a spirit check to stay awake after that, then.
All right.
That feels appropriate in this case. That's a little bit of a shock. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Porter's got high spirit.
All right. Yeah. So your eyes just start blinking, and you slowly begin to focus in on Joshua's face. And at that point, all of you hear the sounds of, it's like almost like a low kind of moaning of some sorts, and then you hear some additional noises, like the earth being moved. And you see, as you begin to look around, all of the mounds where there was a rod that had been stuck in there, which I believe was 9 of those. You see the earth start to move away. It's almost like splitting, and these people, for lack of a better term, start coming out. But it is very quickly obvious that from the distance that you're at to the distance to the mound and the detail with which you see them, they are definitely larger than men. Some of them are naked, some of them still have rags and scraps of clothing on them, but they are slowly clawing their way out of the ground. And in the distance, you can hear Reddington almost cackling with glee as they're coming out. And yes, in the distance, Joshua, just because your survival instincts kind of kick in, you can hear the sound of galloping horses, or trotting horses at least, coming up from behind you. So, new round, so to speak, at least to tell me what your actions are going to be. Oh, okay, I'm first. Interesting. All right. These creatures continue to claw their way out, and Reddington is closest to the 12 o'clock area mound. Joshua, you see the horses approaching. They're not quite here yet. Then you look back towards where Reddington is, and it looks like he's focusing almost inward. It's hard to tell what he's doing, but it's like his arms have disappeared in front of him, and his head is tucked down slightly. So whatever he's doing something on his person. You can hear, and it's hard for you because of your hearing, of course, but you can hear like what sounds almost like angry or surprised shouts from Reddington as he's trying to do something, and he's looking towards the giants as they've come out of the mounds and are starting to just look around and gather their surroundings in. But something is happening with Reddington, and you're not sure, but it doesn't seem to be good. And Porter, it's your turn.
All right. So Porter, let's see. He just had that happen to him. He has no idea what's happened. Something feels off, but he doesn't know what it is. He's going to, it's obviously everything's around. Samuel's shouting incoherently. Porter is going to drop and grab the ray gun first, and just kind of drop to a knee and kind of feel around. Not really looking, he's kind of groping on the ground while he's watching Reddington at this point. He wants to see what happens with Reddington.
Because you can hear better than your partner, it doesn't sound like Reddington is happy. He sounds almost a bit shocked or surprised. And as in the last bits of your action here, as you've got the gun and you look up at Reddington, he turns and he looks back at you, and he looks to have a very shocked and surprised look on his face.
Porter sees him look back, and he probably can't tell what he's saying. Porter's like, "Did your experiment fail? Did it go up in smoke?"
Joshua, go ahead.
Hearing this and kind of catching on, he's going to add to the taunts that Porter's throwing out, and he'll basically try to help Porter to his feet because he knows, the horses are coming, we need to move, especially if what he's thinking is going down. So as he's adding to the taunts of Porter, it's going to be like, "Careful what you wish for, Samuel."
Is it your intention to get on the horses and get the hell out?
That's Joshua's intentions at this point, because he knows what one Patchy could do. He doesn't want to deal with a bunch of them.
Porter alone, he'll kind of let himself be dragged, but he's going to watch Reddington. And then, and he's going to add on. He's just going to yell, even though they probably can't understand him. It's like, this is the man who tried to control you! As he's being dragged backwards, he's kind of just throwing his finger at him.
All right. So here's what happens as you mount up and begin to... Oh, go ahead.
One thing I'd like to add is Joshua knows that he got 2 rods pulled. So as he's leading the ride out of here, that's the 2 mounds we're riding between to get out of here, because he knows that nothing's going to be coming out of those mounds.
Fair enough. All right. So as you're fleeing, here's what you see as you are looking back. The giants from the respective mounds begin to come down, and the mound that Reddington is close enough to, it looks like he continues to struggle in an attempt to exert some sort of influence or control over these giants, and it doesn't appear to be happening. And you see 2 of them get down close, or they're closer to Reddington than the others, and looks like they're coming at him, and they're about to take some sort of action. And if we were to cinematically watch this, you'd be seeing this up close. Reddington reaches down for his ethereal energy accelerator, realizes that he left it back at the depression with Porter, and now Porter has it, has nothing to defend himself with except for his pistol. And just as he is about to get hit by one of the approaching giants, the invisible guy appears and jumps in front of the giant, takes the damage that was meant for Reddington, and gets crushed in the deadly blows from the giants. And then that allows Reddington to get some distance and flee himself. So the opportunity for him to be killed by the giants has been lost as I play the opportunity lost card. And you see, looks like Reddington, you don't necessarily see him get away, but it looks like he threads his way through the oncoming giants as they are coming at him. But you make your way through your safety mounds, I guess, and back up the hill and towards the exit of the valley, the entrance where you came through. And it begins to rain once again.
Well, the boys stopped Reddington's plans, but it was a little messy, and their work is far from over. With the business of Reddington concluded, for now, Joshua now has a standing date waiting for him in the form of the two-faced woman, and Porter needs to talk to Jasmine. We'll walk that road in our next issue, Aftermath. The part of Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith. Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich, and your intrepid marshal is played by Chris Hussey. This game references the Savage Worlds game system available from Pinnacle Entertainment Group at peginc.com. It is unofficial media content permitted under the Media Network Content Agreement. This content is not managed, approved, or endorsed by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Certain portions of the materials used are the intellectual property of Pinnacle, and all rights are reserved. Savage Worlds, all related settings, and unique characters, locations, logos, and trademarks are copyright of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Thanks also to Fear the Boot. Support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Intro music by Half Deaf Clatch. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's very kindly appreciated. If you listen on YouTube, please like and leave a comment. And as always, please tell a friend or 3 about the show. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, always try to trade for what you know something is, not what you hope it will be. Hey everyone, Chris here, Marshall for Young and Holt. The conclusion of this arc in the story is a perfect example, really, of why I love RPGs so much. Things rarely go the way you thought they would, and that's really, truly one of the beautiful things about games like this. What follows here is the discussion we had at the table after Brad rolled that 1 on the weird science roll at the end of issue 58. Now that die roll and the plot twist card that I played had a profound effect on Porter, fundamentally changing his character. Now, the stuff that's in this discussion might be a bit spoilery, but not in such a way that I think it will ruin what comes later. I really felt that it was worth including all of this discussion because it shows the strength of arriving at a great resolution when everyone at the table participates in the conversation. And it's also kind of a neat peek behind our curtain. Anyway, I'd love to hear your feedback on it if you do choose to listen to it. Of course, if you have any feedback. Anyway, you know where to find me. Thanks, and enjoy.
And that did not go any way in which I thought it was at all. I mean,
Nope.
not even close. Not even close. The only thing that actually was close was the possibility of Reddington dying and losing control of the Giants, and then something else was going to happen at that point. But no, how I had written this out was I was going to do like a modified quick encounter, figuring that both sides were going to be shooting at each other, which I did do that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And then there was going to be, because of that, it was going to be, the quick encounter was going to be something that essentially the two of you were going to have to be involved in, because this was all cushion for Reddington to get the device off. But the way it worked with your approach actually got the device off anyway. But
Yep.
yeah, nope, not even close to it.
Well, I told you I wanted to go visit Reddington.
Yeah, you did. You did. All right. Okay. Well, then we're not necessarily at as interesting a crossroads as I thought. Well. Or are we? Let me think about this here for a second. Now, you would have had to succeed with the...
But I did roll a 1 on the weird science. I don't know if that on the actual dice.
Here's the question. Do you get the choice of which die you take? And if you take the 1, might it cause the machine to do something bad?
Well, technically, I mean, you're right, because you did roll a 1 on a weird science die, and that should be considered essentially a backlash of sorts for that.
And I'm hoping that the group of 5 that we sent to number 9 were able to disable it. So hopefully 3 mounds at least have been disabled.
But they were never told to pull it out.
Yeah, true.
That's the only issue. I should have said that before.
The one guy at 6 told him don't know if he succeeded or not.
I couldn't figure out what Porter would actually, between what I figured out, like I knew what was going to happen from the beginning, But would Porter know what was going to happen?
Exactly. And that's what Joshua, he's like, Brent knows what's going on, but Joshua wouldn't know that, and figured as soon as the guy said, hey, these are flimsily made, disable whatever it is, screw your machine. That's the only reason I thought to break it. And then once the lightning started coming out, it's like, okay, that works. Keep it up.
Yeah. Didn't expect me to play with the machine, did you?
No, I did not. You and your damn crazy ideas.
Well, this is Porter's thought process. It took that much effort to put down Patchy.
Mm-hmm.
Having to fight 11 or not even 11. Let's say they took down 3 at best. 8 Patchies. That scares Porter mad. I mean, there's no way you could do it. They would be running, and Samuel would have that many Patchies, and they would just march down to Denver and do whatever. That's what's going to happen in Porter's mind. And so he went with the only thing he could think of is, this thing did it. This thing can undo it.
Yeah, which actually that makes some sense.
So now that Porter's completely screwed it up.
All right. So here's the dilemma, because in a sense you failed your weird science roll, which then you got a 1 there, which means that there's some sort of backlash. Now, since more than anything that this whole campaign has been about story, whether it's Porter's story or both of your story. But here's the thing. So I want to play this card because I like this card. And this is the Life Changer plot twist card. So,
okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? So and the keywords here, we got one thing changes everything. You would change a heart, whatever. I like the idea of Porter's malfunction being able to cause, because something is going to happen at the end of this round that is definitely going to change what's the next few rounds, no doubt about it. So we got a couple things here. We can, with this fail, we could, and if I play this card, something negative definitely has to happen to Porter. The life-changing effects could mean on him. It could mean on Reddington, because, as you're about to find out, the test was indeed a stunning success. But your failure with this device could now have rendered Samuel's control of these creatures useless, so he no longer has control of that he would have had on them. And I don't know, what do we want to do here, guys?
That was something else that came up, was he needed a device to control Patchy before.
Mm-hmm.
To control that many Patchies, he needs a much bigger device. So Porter was like, well, this has got to be it, right? Anything you want to throw in, Brent, before I start throwing out ideas?
Well, I'm just curious, what is there a chart somewhere for like backlashes like there is with, is there a weird science backlash chart?
There's a couple options I've been considering, and I was kind of pushing it maybe towards Jasmine, but this might be more appropriate.
Well, let's just do a little math.
Yeah.
There's 11 in a circle. And we know that in the mound that we saw, there was 3 chambers.
Yes.
So that's 33 per mound.
Yeah.
And if we stopped 2 out of the 11.
Yeah.
That's 9 left over times 33.
Mm-hmm.
There is that part of an idea of all these things coming back and not being under anyone's control.
Yes.
And that being, another
That's a game changer in the West. Yes.
Yeah, that's like a new faction basically that has opened up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for Mad Scientist, it's essentially, let's see. When a character uses an infernal device, it result in a 1. Okay, regardless of the wild guy, means a malfunction has occurred. Comes in 3 varieties: minor, major, and catastrophic. So basically, we roll.
Now before I roll, is there any of them there that looks cool? That gives you an idea? Because that's any of them.
The catastrophic is, I guess, would be the most cool because it's see item description. This is the worst possible malfunction that could occur for a given device. Major device overheats, vehicle shakes violently, blah, blah, blah. The user takes 2d6 damage. Okay, so it certainly is possible that by, doing to this device what it wasn't necessarily designed to do, and screwing it up can cause a malfunction. Certainly could cause Reddington to lose his control over these beings. And then it's also going to cause something.
I think that's probably that's going to be one of the things that's going to happen.
Okay.
Is him losing control.
All right.
I think it's too easy and too clean if we have the machine backfire to make the experiment fail and there's no effect. That's too clean and boring. And it's too Hollywood happy ending.
Hollywood. Okay.
I don't like that idea, basically.
Well, I would say I'm thinking that he loses control, but the life changer is going to come into Porter or perhaps the valley itself, one or the other.
Life changing is, since there's clearly some, since this is ghost rock fueled energy, the life changing, I would imagine, is some aspect of that gets into Porter, whether it's a corrupted sort of influence, or if it's some sort of connection of some sort with the giants.
I'm going purely negative at the moment.
Well,
so you become a crazed, weird science huckster? Is that what?
No, actually, something because ever since I got my spell casting drained, at that one point, it's been occurring to me: what if Jasmine drained Porter of his spell casting abilities? Like she took it onto herself. That's to make herself more powerful. Well, what if this thing did it? Just he lost connection. He was completely severed from the Oh,
so you can't get to the hunting grounds anymore?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Make Porter essentially mortal. Or unable to use his cards, his abilities anymore.
That's such a huge life-changing negative that I like that for a plot point, but I don't want to render your character totally useless either. So there has to be something.
Because he used Hunch on that machine, it switches over to the beginning of Weird Science. As a background. Because that's kind of because some imprint on the machine from Samuel sort of left that in his head, and so he can now start figuring out Weird Science instead.
I don't mind that necessarily. I think I kind of like that.
Yeah, like a brain scramble. Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
Or if this machine granted Samuel some sort of semblance of control, I mean, I don't know how that works because Chris, obviously you had figured that out, but what if there was something with this in Porter that there's some sort of link like there is with Samuel to these things, so that there's always kind of this power struggle back and forth in your head? I don't know. I'm just spitballing and throwing that out.
There's certainly, I think that if we're going to use this as kind of a story arc of sorts, changing card / device, plot device, I like the idea of there being some sort of connection between him and the giants that are about to come out of here, and whether Porter takes that on as a mission to find and eliminate them, find and corral them, and to take him under control, or whatever, that is that works for me. And I like it too, because since the whole thing with the giants was the very first thing that you guys ever did, that this continues as you move forward and this arc closes out. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, so
okay,
the tying him to the giants in some way, maybe because hunch is his thing. Maybe he gets dreams about them at times, stuff like that.
Yeah, that connection isn't evident right away. Something that develops.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I still think we need to roll on the catastrophic, or draw a card, or however that chart works, just to see what fate throws out there for an added twist.
I like that. All right. So let's do that. So Brad or Porter, go ahead and roll me a d6. This is